I believe that books will never disappear. Interview with Jorge Luis Borges. 1. Introduction. Setting the scene. This piece unfolds as a recorded conversation between two men bound by a shared love of words. Roberto Alifano, an Argentine writer and journalist, and Jorge Luis Borges, one of the most celebrated literary figures of the 20th century. By the time of the interview, Borges had been blind for many years, yet his blindness had not dimmed his relationship with literature. He still read with help, still wrote, still dreamt of books and libraries. The interview blends autobiography with philosophy. Through personal anecdotes, sharp reflections, and poetic observations, Borges explains why he believes books are eternal. His tone is neither sentimental nor purely academic. Instead, it is that of a man who has lived among books all his life and has come to see them as inseparable from human identity. 2. Borges's early reading and education. When asked about his first literary experience, Borges recalls reading Grimm's fairy tales in an English translation. This wasn't just a child's entertainment, it marked the beginning of his lifelong journey into the world of literature. He explains that his father's library was more influential to him than school or university. Surrounded by shelves of books, he encountered worlds, characters, and ideas far richer than any classroom lecture. This early immersion shaped his imagination, sharpened his intellect, and gave him an intuitive understanding of storytelling. To Borges, libraries were not silent storage rooms. They were living spaces where voices from centuries past could still be heard. 3. Reflections on his mother. Borges speaks tenderly of his mother, Doña Leonor, describing her as a woman of intelligence, charm, and kindness, who seemed to have no enemies. But his words also carry a note of regret. He admits feeling guilty for not being a happier person, as if his unhappiness deprived her of the joy she deserved. This regret became clearer to him after her death, when he realized how easily we take loved ones for granted, much like we take the sun, moon, or seasons for granted until they are gone. His words move from personal grief to a universal truth. Our closest relationships are often undervalued in life, only fully appreciated in absence. 4. Life with blindness. Borges addresses his blindness without bitterness. He calls it a way of life and says it is not entirely unhappy. For him, everything that happens to a person, even pain, humiliation, or misfortune, can be turned into raw material for art. A writer, he believes, should treat all experiences as clay, ready to be shaped into creative work. He quotes Goethe's verse, "All that is near becomes far," to describe how sight has left him, and yet he has gained new ways to enjoy life. Remarkably, Borges still buys books and fills his home with them, despite not being able to see them. This act reflects both habit and devotion, a statement that his blindness has not severed his bond with books. 5. The theme of books and a strange dream. Borges recalls a strange dream. A vast library engulfed in flames, perhaps the legendary Library of Alexandria, with its countless volumes lost forever. The image is striking, the destruction of a treasure trove of human knowledge. Alifano suggests Borges might write a history of the book, a task Borges finds intriguing but doubts he could take on at his age. He mentions philosopher Oswald Spengler's thoughts on books, hinting at the deep and complex history behind this invention. For Borges, books are not just containers of information, they are sacred magical artifacts that connect generations. 6. On poetry. When the conversation turns to poetry, Borges resists giving a strict definition. He compares the attempt to defining the color yellow, the experience of love, or the sight of autumn leaves falling, all things whose meaning lies in personal experience. For him, poetry is not the poem itself, but the poetic act, the living moment when the writer creates or the reader is moved. Every reading of a poem is slightly different, yet always a kind of magic. He warns that if the reader does not feel this poetic spark, then the poem has failed, no matter how polished its form. 7. The importance of precise words. Borges emphasizes that poetry depends greatly on finding the right words. He cites a line by Emily Dickinson, "This quiet dust was gentlemen and ladies." The idea that all people turn to dust is ancient and overused, yet Dickinson's choice of gentlemen and ladies transforms it. The words add elegance, dignity, and surprise, turning the familiar into something fresh and memorable. Had she written men and women, the phrase would have been flat and ordinary. Borges uses this to illustrate how language can elevate thought when handled with care. 8. Essential metaphors in literature. Borges suggests that all of literature rests on a handful of universal metaphors, repeated in endless variations: time and a river, life and dreams, death and sleep, stars and eyes, flowers and women. These, he believes, are the deep-rooted comparisons shared across all cultures and eras. They existed from the dawn of human imagination and continue to appear in every age. The poet's role is not to invent them, but to rediscover and renew them. 9. Will books disappear? When asked about the future of books in the face of new technology, Borges answers without hesitation that they will never disappear. He points out that most inventions extend the human body. The telephone extends our voice. The telescope and microscope extend our sight. The plow and sword extend our strength. The book, however, is unique. It extends our imagination and memory. This is what makes it humanity's most remarkable invention. No digital screen or device, he insists, can replace this essential function. 10. Literature as a dream and humanity's memory. For Borges, literature is a controlled dream. He believes humanity owes almost everything to literature, not only our understanding of the past, but also our very sense of self. Our history is a chain of memories, recorded and preserved in books. Without them, our past would vanish, and with it, our future. To lose books would be to lose the thread of human continuity. 11. Closing thought. The interview ends with a reaffirmation of Borges's belief. Books are more than printed pages. They are vessels of human imagination, memory, and shared experience. They carry the dreams of past centuries into the present and will continue to do so into the future. In Borges's mind, as long as humanity values thought, memory, and beauty, books will remain. Please like and subscribe to my channel and click the bell icon to get new video updates. Thanks for watching.